It's knowing that your door is always open and your path is free to walk. It makes me tend to leave my sleeping bag rolled up and stashed behind your couch. It's knowing I'm not shackled by forgotten words and laws and the ink stains that have dried upon some line. That keeps you in the back roads by the rivers of my memory. That keeps you ever gentle on my mind. It's not clinging to the rocks and ivy painted on their columns now that bind me. Or something that somebody said because they thought we'd fit together walking. It's not knowing that the world will not be cursing or forgiving when I walk around the railroad track and find that you're moving on the back roads by the rivers of my memory, and hours you're just gentle on my mind. Though the wheat fields and the clotheslines and the junkyards and the highways come between us, and some other woman's crying to her mother 'cause she turned and I was gone, I still might run in silence, tears of joy might stain my face, and the summer sun might burn me till I'm blind. But not to where I cannot see you walking on the back roads while the river's flowing gentle on my mind. I dip my cup of soup back from a gurgling, crackling cauldron in some train yard. My beard a rustling towel and a dirty hat pulled low across my face. Through cup hands round the tin can, I pretend to hold you to my breast and find that you're waiting from the back roads by the rivers of my memories, ever smiling, ever gentle on my mind.
Good Thursday evening, everybody. Chris McDonald back with you on another McFiles on the first day of February 2024. We're always glad to have my dear friend Maria Miller on the line with us tonight. She's a conservative advocate, a dear friend of the show and mine, and we're grateful to have her tonight. Maria, good to see you. How you been, friend? It's been a while, and we're grateful you're here tonight. We've got a lot to talk about. The illegals are flipping us off, my friend. I want to play a video before I do that. Let me welcome you to the show. How you been? Good to see you tonight.
I've been well, Chris. Thanks for inviting me on again.
Always a pleasure. Listen, I'm going to play this video clip, and then I'm going to talk about it with you. Here's what went on a couple of days ago, the 27th of January, up in New York City. Illegals beat the hell out of some cops, got out without bail, didn't even give them bail, bragged it, and they fled to California. But it's what they did afterward that has got a lot of Americans a little pissed off tonight. Roll the tape.
Just into Fox News now, NYPD making 2 more arrests, illegal immigrants, and that attack on officers. Those suspects also allegedly stole an officer's cell phone. Well, that'll help them track you down. So a 5th illegal immigrant accused of attacking 2 New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret. He was seen, as you can see, giving his 2 middle fingers to the cameras moments after being released without bail. Florida Senator Marco Rubio wrote, "Message to America from one of the illegal immigrants who assaulted NYPD officers, walked free with no bail, and heads back to a shelter funded by taxpayers." So far, police have shared 4 mugshots of the now 7 people arrested in connection with the brutal beatings in Times Square.
All right, Maria, very, very horrific thing. And we had a show on last night. We had 11, we've got 11 pro-lifers facing up to 11 years in prison. 6 of them, I should say, facing up to 11 years in prison for basically just praying outside of a abortion clinic here in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. And then on the other hand, I heard tonight that this kid, whoever this punk was that filmed the porn movie in Congress, is literally not going to be charged with a thing. And where have we gotten to, my friend, in this country when illegals are beating the you-know-what out of cops, not getting any bail, shooting the middle finger to America? I'm going to tell you something, Marie Miller, if I was president tonight, there wouldn't be a damn illegal left, because all their asses would be on boats back to China, Turkey, Iran, Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, and anywhere else they came from. They'd be shooting that bird to their own country, not us. What say you?
Well, what I have to say about where we're at now, Chris, is just what it says in the Bible. You know, that which will be called good will be called evil, and that which is evil will be called good. And that's what we're looking at in our nation right now, and this day and age. That's where we're at. If you wanted to define it, you know, in a few words, just turn to Scripture and it's there. The Bible warned us that this was going to happen, and it's been happening. Yeah.
When you see this, look, Betty, you've been fighting the fight. The reason I've met you to begin with, we met first time back in 2019 at the border feeding of those agents down there in McAllen. And I know that you and others have been on the front lines of this fight. You were in Texas at one time. You're not any longer. But you were right there in the middle of this. Our dear friend, AJ Andy Louderback, which we hope to get on the show again this year. Look, he was in Edna for a long time as a sheriff. He was telling me some horror stories even back 4 or 5 years ago. But Marie, tonight, if you lived in Texas, would you not believe that it's a war zone down there? I mean, last time I had you on, we were talking about this. This is taking on a whole new dynamic, and you see these punks shooting fingers and shooting the bird at the cameras after they basically almost kill cops, beat up cops, assault cops. And you know what, the audacity of the mayor, I want to puke when I hear him and the governor say we need to deport these illegals. Well, they're the ones that made the damn state of New York a sanctuary state and a sanctuary city. Isn't it one of those situations, you made this bed, you brought these people here, and this is what you get, and now you're upset that they're beating up cops and shooting birds to America? Sort of hypocritical, isn't it?
Hypocritical, and it's just the whole irony of it all, because they welcome them into their communities. They support the very party that sits there and tries to claim we don't need immigration reform, and if you dare talk about securing the border, then you're a racist and you're against immigration, when this nation was founded on immigrants. They always like to twist, the words, and they like to twist history to promote their narrative. And then I always think to myself, what exactly are you trying to get at here? Like, why do these people, Chris, why do they hate our nation so much? Why? Why do they do and say the things they do? And if you carry the sentiment of, I love this nation, I love America, I want to put America first, you're the bad guy. Why is loving your nation and wanting to have a secure border and everything that comes with that, a safety and security for its citizens, and why does that make us the bad guy and these people that are coming here? Now, granted, some of them are coming, economic hardship, and they're looking for a better life. I get it. But my point is you broke the law to get here. And are we surprised at all, Chris, that these are people that break laws, and then we're shocked that they're doing the things that they're doing, mounted on top of the sentiment that is already existing, that already exists with, cops are bad and the anti-police sentiment. It's just like mounting more bullshit on top of more bullshit.
Yeah,
and what do
absolutely.
we have now? We have bullshit.
Absolutely.
That's what we have.
Well, and not only that, Maria, but I mean, look, you asked the question, do they hate our country? Well, the narrative of the media is, no, these are just peace-loving, as you said, homeless people, the kids, fleeing these poor nations and so forth. And look, the way I look at it, and I've been screaming this all week, look, you're going to have to shut that border down, period. Look, I don't believe you can let anybody in right now. If we don't shut this border down soon, it's going to be...
We're full. We can't sustain that.
We can't sustain it. We can't sustain it. We can't even sustain the legal immigrants that are coming over right now. And I want to ask you a blunt question. Is there anything that you have confidence in that, let's just say President Trump does get elected, we're praying he will, but I don't see him being able to fix this in 4 years short of a massive deportation plan, Maria, and the left is going to fight him like hell on that. There's going to be so many lawsuits once he starts doing that you can't shake a stick at, just like they did before. And I think I'm just concerned that we're beyond the point of no return on this border.
Yeah, and that's actually a very realistic concern. Because here's one thing that I was talking to somebody about today, Chris. Do you remember when Trump came in and he was doing a really good job and pushing the whole, secure the border, build the wall, finish it? And do you remember the resistance?
Yes.
And the fight of $5 billion $5 billion of American taxpayer money for this wall,
right.
This racist wall.
Right.
How much money have we sent to the Ukraine? Can you remind me again, please?
Oh, my God.
How much money?
Probably.
Was it $5 billion?
Yeah, at least. Maybe more than that. It's been more than that.
No, honey, it was $20 billion.
Yes, $20 billion.
Actually,
absolutely.
It's more than that now. It was $20 billion in the beginning. I think it's closer to 100 now. But that's my point, is like, do you remember when they were bitching and griping about, sorry, I used the word bitching and griping about $5 billion for the wall, but yet they didn't have a problem with sending Ukraine all these billions of dollars. And where are we? Where are we with what it's cost the American taxpayer to sustain these illegals? And I'm talking about the illegals. And the processing, giving them airplane tickets and bus tickets and housing and food, and they all were getting $1,500 cards or cash or whatever, times how many are supposedly in our country now?
Well, they're putting the number
19
at 12 to 15 million, but I don't even think that's a speck in the bucket, Maria. I doubt that number's correct because they've lost track of this a long time ago. I mean, there's numbers I've been hearing up to 20 to 30 million illegals, and I wouldn't doubt that that's what's the actual number.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things, because I don't want to get ahead of myself here, Chris, but we're fighting this battle, this invasion at the border, and everybody's talking about, we got to stop this influx of immigrants, and the cartels are having a heyday, a field day, and guns and drugs, fentanyl crisis, and you just go on and on and on. Okay, but here's the thing that hardly nobody is talking about. I don't want to disclose what I do for a living, but I work for helping people find jobs. And I am seeing in the work that I do an influx of these legal illegals. The reason I call them legal illegals is because our country, our government, is now giving these legal illegals authorization to work cards. Okay.
Wow.
And I want your audience that's listening to hear what I'm having to say, because some people don't seem to think that this is a cause for concern. They're getting authorization to work. They're getting authorization to work cards that look like permanent resident cards, and they're getting authorization to work Social Security cards, because everybody that works in the United States got to have a Social Security number. So even though they're not residents or citizens of this country, they're getting authorization to work Social Security cards. And they are vying for jobs that American citizens could be doing, that American citizens are getting passed over to do. Okay? Nobody seems to be concerned about that, Chris. Nobody seems to be caring to talk about it. I've been to multiple political events with candidates that are running for Senate and Congress. And when I talk to them about that, they look at me like a deer in the headlights, like, what are you talking about? I'm like, these people are coming into our communities. They're utilizing resources like Medicaid. You know, I live in the state of Ohio now. They're utilizing food stamps. They're utilizing Medicaid that, you know, is supposedly everybody thinks this is intended for American citizens, but no, the illegal immigrants are using these resources. And where does the money come from to fund those programs? Taxpayer dollars. So it's not just the fact that they're crossing over, it's what's happening with them once they're here. And nobody is really addressing that issue.
Well, and that's the $1 million question, Marie. Even if we tried to round all these people up tonight, I've not had a person on here yet tell me how that we can find them. Because, I mean, look, I've been down there 3 times. I've seen it firsthand. They get in those cabs. They take them to bus stations. I was driving by a big Catholic church in this city that I live, and I saw the sign out front, immigrants and refugees, welcome here. Come in, you're safe here. Basically giving an open invitation to any illegal walking the street. Come on in. We'll hide you. We'll keep you from whatever.
The evil racist government, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This evil racist government. And when you've got people doing that in this own country, in the church, and the because see, I witnessed that down there in McAllen, because the Catholic Church was basically the Catholic this organization that was a Catholic organization. They were basically putting these people with blankets. They were the ones providing the cell phones, the money, the packets, all this stuff that we saw. And, you know, me and you stood on that ground where that wall was being built, and we stood with officials, and you know, we witnessed, even with the wall being built, this was during the Trump years, because the last time I was down there was right after Biden got office, the regime took over. But the second time, we stood there and literally looked at the wall, and we were thinking that was the last time we see that wall. And sure enough, it wasn't, you know, more than a year that wall was torn down by the Biden administration. And then he has the audacity to go out there tonight and tell Congress to fix this. And like he's done everything he can to fix the border. I mean, this is the freaking hypocrisy of it. It is
because he's senile and he doesn't remember what the heck he did. That's why.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's too busy covering up for his corrupt son and brother and God knows who else that he's helped enrich themselves, you know, with all those shady deals with China and Ukraine. But we're not going to go into that. You know, I'm back to the video that you played. These illegals that assaulted those police officers. Are we even shocked at that, Chris? Because I'm not. These people that are coming here, you've heard about the stories about Venezuela clearing out their prisons and sending us, you know, all their criminals, their convicts and stuff. I'm not surprised one bit at all of the things that we are seeing, the spikes in crime, the assaults. You know, the media likes to keep it hush hush, but you know, you've got all these assaults that are happening on American citizens, not just on their properties, but on their lives. You know, women that are being assaulted. I posted on my social media about this young girl that had, I don't know if she had some type of, I don't want to say she had mental illness, but I can't think right now. So it's been a long day and I'm tired, but this young lady, and I'll have to go back through my social media page. Just a few days ago, I posted it where her mom went to testify, where she was assaulted by an MS-13 gang member and raped and murdered. Okay. And it's like, they're not all, it's, what was it that Trump said? They're not sending their best. They're sending murderers and rapists.
Absolutely.
And then
the media went crazy over that.
And said, Trump hates immigrants. He hates brown people. He called them all murderers and rapists. Well, if you're smart enough to know, it was a 4 seconds out of a 20-second clip that the media, edited to make him look bad, to make him sound racist. But no, that's what Trump was referring to. These people are sneaking in, with these other people that are, I'll call them the good people that are sneaking in, that truly are coming here looking for a better life, with the criminal element that's sneaking in alongside them. And those are the ones that we need to be concerned about. But, the media, and you got people like Ocasio-Cortez and Veronica Escobar and all these Democrat officials, elected politicians, that will twist it and make it seem like, don't you dare speak out against this, because then you're a bad person and you're a racist and you're, a xenophobe and all these other things that they call us. And I'm just like, I just want to say STFU to all of them. I get so sick of it, Chris. And they're like, you're a Christian. You shouldn't talk that way. And I'm like, I know. I pray to God and I ask the Lord to forgive me for my angry thoughts. But gosh, dog it, I am pissed off. I am pissed off at what's happening. And you see everyday Americans going about their busy little daily lives. And they're just, I'm like, do you not see this happening right under your nose, right in front of you in your own community? And nobody cares? Like, what are we going to do? It's like you said, is it too late? How is Trump going to fix this? I don't think that Trump is going to fix it in 4 years, but I hope and pray that in 4 years, he can put us back on the right track so that whoever succeeds him can continue the path.
But then you open up another line of discussion, Marie, because this is the problem. You got the American people that have got to want it shut. And I hate to tell you, I guess I'm too cynical for my own good right now. I just don't think that there is a stomach to do what we've got to do. And I think that this compassionate conservatism and this compassionate, what would Jesus do? And look, me and you both are believers and we understand the compassion of the Lord, but the Lord is not going to embrace illegal aliens coming to a country, tearing our country to pieces, and then people use his name to justify lawlessness. That is not going to happen. And it's not conservatism. It's destructivism from within. And the question would be, Trump does that in 4 years, and what if the American people send a Democrat back up there and they tear it down? See, that's the vicious cycle that we're in this country. Trump had us on the right path with this border situation in his 4 years the first time. Biden tore everything down in 4 years. Then Trump's going to have to rebuild it in 4 years. And if you don't have the elections go the right way 4 years from now and keep this pattern going, you're going to have the same thing. And see, that goes to the American people, my friend. And that gets into a whole other discussion about where we're at as a nation and where our mind's at tonight. Because it's not in a good place.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. And we're witnessing the things that are happening in New York City, in places like New York and Chicago. And I want to talk about Chicago. So those of you that follow social media and you're seeing all these, minority community leaders, not elected officials, but leaders that are coming forth and saying, if the Democrats don't watch out, we're going to, stop voting for them. And we want a meeting with Donald Trump. And people are saying, oh, now you want to talk to the Republicans.
Yeah.
And I said this when that first started happening. I said, wait a minute. It's not that you want to talk to the GOP or GOP leadership or Donald Trump, because your eyes are open and you're seeing that the Democrat policies are not really beneficial or really helping in strengthening your community. What it is the Democrats are taking your resources and giving them to illegals. So it's a socialistic mindset. Wait a minute, they're taking our free stuff and giving it to someone else. That's what they're pissed off about. They're not pissed off about, all the hard work that Trump did for the, historically black colleges and minority business owners. They're not upset about that. They're upset that their free housing and their free, their funding for free programs is being utilized for illegals. That's what they're mad about, Chris.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's an excellent point. And all this faux pas compassion. And I found it very rich. And I was just sitting there with my mouth open and just like shaking my head and saying a few things I can't say on this network tonight. But let me just tell you this New York mayor and governor acting like that they're all been out of shape, that the illegals in New York, well, again, they supported it, Maria. They supported this crap. And I said it, I told our guest Tuesday night, who was with us, Dan Govak, and, Dan today, sadly, yesterday was the 9-year anniversary of the death of his son Spencer, when he got shot by an illegal alien on the streets of Houston. This illegal basically went up to him, put a gun to his head, put a bullet in his head for no reason. Illegal should not have been there to begin with. Had been basically arrested 5 times before all this happened. Mm-hmm. And I told him there is no such thing as a sanctuary city constitutionally. I'm sorry. There's nowhere in the Constitution that says America is to provide a sanctuary for illegal aliens. Illegal aliens. They're not immigrants. They are illegal aliens. I'm sick of hearing that term immigrant. They're not immigrants. And I hear the Republicans saying it. They're not immigrants. They're illegal aliens. They are criminals. Mm-hmm. They are lawbreakers. You come into this country, you broke the law, all your rights are gone before you even get started. Your rights are gone. Maria, correct? Am I? And then that's not being too harsh, I don't think, is it? Because look, me and you went to another country and did this mess. I guarantee you we'd have our head lopped off. Right.
And that's some of the outrage that some Americans are feeling, Chris, is that they fled their country because, and I'm just going to use Trump's words, their shithole country didn't do nothing for them. So now they're coming here and they have the audacity to demand from the United States. When they demand from the United States, they're not demanding it from the government. They're demanding it from the American people because it's our tax dollars that's providing all this crap that they're getting. Okay? So my sentiment to them is, if you don't come here waving your home country's flag, because if you really loved your country, you little coward, you would have stuck there and you would have fought for your country. Instead, you fled your country because it wasn't, they weren't providing anything for you. They weren't providing opportunity, or you had all this economic hardship. And now you're going to come here and you're going to shit on the American people, because that's what they're doing, Chris. They're pooping on us. They're pooping on it. We're taking it. They're smearing it in our faces, and we're taking it. And nobody's really doing anything about it. People are talking, but who's doing? Who's doing?
Nobody's doing it. The Republicans ain't doing it. No, there's nobody doing anything about it.
I don't want to hear no more lip slapping. I want to see some doing. That's what I want.
You and I both know, and again, I know where you used to live. I know where you live now, and I know that this is affecting every state of the union, Maria. Yeah. Look, when the New Hampshire voters last Tuesday night, basically 41% said that immigration was the top issue in New Hampshire. I mean, that should tell everybody that this situation is being felt state to state, coast to coast, north, south, east, west. There are no states that are not being touched by this situation. And then I want to just get your opinion, because, I mean, you flip this over on the other side. You flip this on the other side. You've got 6 pro-lifers that were charged and found guilty yesterday in Mount Juliet, Tennessee, in my state of Tennessee, standing and praying, Maria, not blocking an abortion clinic, but they are sent to prison, are going to be possibly up to 11 years. And there's a 73-year-old man in this group, an 87-year-old Holocaust survivor. Her sentencing is coming up next week. She could face a year, $10,000 fine. And Maria, we see this lawless, and then you go to this porn thing, and I saw this tonight. I'm going to put a picture of this up for the audience, and this punk kid, and I remember the story, and saying to myself, ain't nothing going to happen. I'll just read it. Jacob Chansley said a peaceful prayer to God in the U.S. Senate. This is from Benny Johnson's Twitter handle. He got 41 months, Maria, in federal prison, 300 days solitary confinement. Aiden Mace, this punk kid who films a hardcore pornography video in the U.S. Senate, posted publicly. He is absolutely charged with nothing tonight. He is free to go. And Benny says it right, we live in a demonic empire. But let me ask you about the legal system. When you got a justice system in this state, is anybody safe tonight? Is anybody really, truly safe?
No. If somebody, if you, no, and if our judicial system can have a judge and a jury that's going to force an American patriot to pay a whack job $83 million for defaming her character, even though a jury found that same person not guilty or not liable for the charges that she initially claimed against him about sexual assault. He was found innocent of that, but yet for calling her a whack job, he has to pay $83 million.
I know.
Come on, what does that say about our judicial system? And furthermore, what does it say about the voters who are electing these people, who appoint these judges, who elect these judges? When is America going to wake the flip up? Because I don't know about you and your listeners, but I'm sick of it. I'm pissed off.
Well, I
can say, I don't care how many indictments Trump has, I'm going to vote for him. Unless Jesus Christ comes down on the cloud and tells me don't vote for Trump, that's the only way I'm not voting for Trump. Yeah. Because the more they throw at Trump, the more they throw at MAGA, the more they throw against the conservative movement, the more I'm digging my heels in, and I know what I'm going to do during the primary, and I know how I'm voting in November.
Nothing's Rebecca Spadino says it's coming to a town near you, and see, that's what we're trying to get across.
No, it's not coming. It's already here. It's in every town.
It's already here.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Absolutely.
It's everywhere, but not enough people are angry enough about it. Everybody says, "Oh, but you got to be a Christian, and you got to love, and you got to be angry." I'm sorry. I'm telling everybody, if you're not angry right now, then you're not fully awake.
No, you're not.
It takes the American people to get fed up and pissed off and say, you know what, we're banding together and we're not taking any more of this. We're not taking any more of this. And I'm telling everybody, if you're voting Democrat, and I've got some friends who are Democrat, and I hate to say it, but friend, I can't deal with you if you're going to stick to supporting a party or supporting a rhino, because there's some in the Republican Party too. If you're supporting establishment Republicans, shame on you too, because they're part of the reason, they're part of the problem just as much as the Democrats are.
Yeah, and that's right. Listen, I want you to stick around with me just for, I want you to stick around with me. I'm going to play another video right now about the J6ers, and I want to get your take on this. This was out, a PBS documentary came out tonight, and it basically blows the lid off the whole J6 BS. And Adam Clown Zingender, or whatever his name is, up in Illinois, another rhino. And I'm going to let the tape roll. You're on audio with me. They'll be able to watch this. I want everybody to listen to this. We're going to roll the tape, and we're going to talk about the J6 situation because it ties to the illegals. Maria, it goes back to the justice system and how corrupt this is. You got J6ers sitting in jail tonight without due process, and you got these illegals with their two middle fingers up to America walking away. They didn't even get bail. Alvin Bragg did not even put bond or bail on these boys. They're in California tonight. That's what's being reported. They fled to California.
They're in California on our taxpayer dollar.
On our taxpayer dollar. Here's the tape about J6. I want folks to watch this. Roll the tape. Listen carefully, folks. Watch this.
Thompson's committee had gathered a trove of information. The challenge, what to do with it.
The one thing that we knew was the information that we have is compelling. The thing we needed to do was tell that to the American people in a compelling way. So that's why we brought in a former president of ABC News.
Yeah, I got a call pretty much out of the blue from the January the 6th committee. They wanted a storyteller. And while they were brilliant lawyers, storytelling for a mass audience is not what they do.
to bring in a guy like this who would think outside the box really did prove to be fruitful. And it was Goldston who really began to envision this as, in a way, a kind of mini-series, that there would be, sort of 9 episodes, and that these episodes would tackle particular themes.
Attack on the Capitol. The investigation.
The first hearing was primetime television.
As the nation is about to witness a defining moment. The first hearing before the country, the results of the January 6th investigation.
This is an extraordinary moment in American history.
When it came to that first hearing, we knew how high the stakes were.
Is about to hold its first primetime hearing.
We were either going to, make people realize that this was important, or once you've lost them, you've lost them for good.
On the evening of June 9th, 8:01 p.m., the doors opened. My heart was beating pretty fast on June 9th, and it was a real question of, is this going to work or not?
All right, everybody, here we go. 5 on the line, please.
I'm in this tiny control room right up the stairs from Cannon Caucus, and we count down to the start of the hearing, and at that point, what can you do?
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
The Select Committee to investigate the January 6th attack on the United States Capitol will be in order. Without objection.
We wanted to make sure that this was a presentation that would grab the audience and hold on to them. Chairman Thompson loved to say, it's got to pop.
And see, that's the whole issue right there, Marie. They did this with a freaking television cameras. They wanted to make it pop. The truth be damned. The people be damned. They didn't care about the truth. They didn't want the truth out there. They wanted to make it all look like this big insurrection. And the beans, what people don't realize what they just watched, was the admission of what we've all been saying, that it was bullshit from the beginning. They had the television producers from ABC and CBS on standby, coaching them how to act in front of the camera to put innocent Americans in jail, while the illegal aliens are shooting the bird to the American public tonight for doing things that are actually illegal and criminal. What say you, buddy?
Well, yeah, and just like the the summer of 2020 when they were, burning down police precincts and government buildings. What happened to all those people? Did any of those people get held without due process and do any jail time?
Never. No. Not one. Not one.
No, and they actually murdered people. The people that died in J6, the media likes to paint the narrative that, it was, these insurrectionists that killed these Capitol Police, and no, they didn't. No, they didn't. We didn't come armed. We didn't have guns, and we were waving American flags, and we were demanding our voices be heard for what we knew was a stolen election. And we were saying, no, we're not going to take this. We don't accept this because it's not right. It's not just, but the government shut us down. Our tyrannical government shut us down. Our tyrannical government shut down our own duly elected president.
Yes, they did.
Could do it, they do it to the American people. I'm just amazed at the people that are still asleep, that just don't see it for whatever reason. They hate Trump and they hate MAGA, and they hate anything that's affiliated with America First. Who are these people?
Who are these people? Listen, I want you to stick around. I got another video because this ties into everything too. One of the squad tonight. This is of all the crazy blank
one,
stuff.
The ball-headed one.
The ball-headed one. I want to play this video that she's claiming tonight that the closing down of Walgreens is racist, while you got a video to the side.
About that earlier.
Yeah.
And I got a lot to say about it. Go ahead.
I'm going to play the video because I know you do. That's why I had you on here. This is one Ariana Presley claiming that because crime was so bad in New York City, the Walgreens folks were losing so much money, they closed the stores down. Well, she's claiming tonight this is racist.
Walgreens is racist.
Roll the tape.
Mr. Speaker, Walgreens is planning to close yet another pharmacy in the Massachusetts 7th, this time on Warren Street in Roxbury, a community that is 85% Black and Latino. This closure is a part of a larger trend of abandoning low-income communities like the previous closures in Mattapan and Hyde Park, both in the Massachusetts 7th. When a Walgreens leaves a neighborhood, they disrupt the entire community, and they take with them baby formula, diapers, asthma inhalers, life-saving medications, and of course, jobs. These closures are not arbitrary, and they are not innocent. They are life-threatening acts of racial and economic discrimination.
Racial and economic discrimination. I got to play that again. You can't see the video because we're on phone. To the right, the Twitter handle is showing people shoplifting and fleecing this Walgreens that she's claiming that is racist for shutting down. I got to roll this again, Miller. 41 seconds, folks. This is the insanity of insanity. My Lord,
Mr.
Jesus,
Speaker,
help us
Walgreens is
tonight.
planning to close yet another pharmacy in the Massachusetts 7th, this time on Warren Street in Roxbury, a community that is 85% Black and Latino. This closure is a part of a larger trend of abandoning low-income communities like the previous closures in Mattapan and Hyde Park, both in the Massachusetts 7th. When a Walgreens leaves a neighborhood, they disrupt the entire community, and they take with them baby formula, diapers, asthma inhalers, life-saving medications, and of course, jobs. These closures are not arbitrary, and they are not innocent. They are life-threatening acts of racial and economic discrimination.
Let me make sure that people understand when you hear racial and economic discrimination, that is a key term for racism. That's what they're claiming here. All right, Marilla, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to loose you on the audience. Go. What say you?
Isaiah 5:20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Ariana Presley, whatever the heck her name is, the bald chick. What I find so outrageous is that she is outraged at Walgreens for refusing to be a victim to shoplifting and theft and crime, and not saying one jack bit about the criminals in the community that are causing profit loss, that corporations, mom and pop shops can't afford to stay open because of the criminals. But hey, it's like that movie, The Wizard of Oz, where the guy was behind the curtain. He said, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. That's what Ariana Grande, Presley, whatever the heck that bald-headed chick's name is. I can't even bring myself to say it because I don't care. Her name doesn't matter. She's irrelevant because she's nothing but a race hustling pimp. That's what she is, Chris. And I sound pissed off. I'm on the phone. I'm pissed because I'm so sick of these people, these race hustling pimps that are so quick to say, this is racism. This is race. You know, they're not using the word racism. What was that? Racial and
economic discrimination. That's the key word for racism now.
And are we doing that now? We're just totally going to ignore the people that come in and loot the people. Oh, you're taking away baby formula and life-saving medication.
There ain't none left, Maria. Let me interrupt you. There ain't none left on the shelf because they've shoplifted it all.
You're totally going to ignore the people that are coming in here and looting. And how is the store supposed to afford to stay open and make a profit to pay their employees, to buy more inventory? Hello. Does anybody want to talk about that? No. The left, just these little sheeples. Oh, we can't say anything because we can't hurt their feelings. And white people, this is a message for you. I am sick of white conservatives who are so scared to speak up because they're scared of being called a racist. You know what?
Buddy. Come on.
You need to speak up for what is right and to hell with anybody that's going to misconstrue or twist your words and accuse you of something that you need to just trust in the Lord that he's going to protect you against those type of attacks, against that kind of slander, because the more that you suppress the truth and not stand up or speak out against it, the more they're going to continue to do it. And I tell all my white friends that don't you dare bow down to that narrative, to that agenda, because that's where the left, that's where they get you, white people. That's where they get y'all to bide your tongue and to be quiet and to not say anything because, I don't want to be accused of being insensitive or being a racist. Are you a racist? No, you're not. You're speaking up for the truth. You're speaking up for justice. You're speaking up for the law. I don't even know what to say anymore, Chris. I'm just frustrated.
But all of these stories tonight, while they seem separate, Marie, they all
they're all
connect.
tied in together.
They're tied in together.
What connects them all?
Illegality and lawlessness. Lawlessness.
Yeah.
Lawlessness.
Yeah, and who's behind the majority? Who's the bigger part? Plays a big role in that? The Democrats.
The Democrats.
The Democrats. I cannot be friends with Democrats because they don't stand for what I believe in, and I believe in what's justice, what's just, and what's right, and what's truth, and what, like you said earlier, those people that are going to prison for praying. So if you stand against the Lord, then I'm not going to be on your side. Then you stand against me. You stand against me. I'm standing for righteousness. I'm standing up for God's word. And if you are going to come after me with some made-up law, some man-made law to take away my freedom and throw me in prison, who is the evil one here, Chris? The person going to prison or the person enforcing the law? You tell me.
Yeah. Well, that's how messed up our country is. Folks, you're watching a very special live McFiles Thursday night. We've got Maria for about another 10 minutes. I'm going to open the chat up now to a question or two for. If you got a question about anything you've seen tonight or maybe a comment, we'll read it and so forth. Buddy, how dangerous? Do you have family still down in Texas?
Yeah, I do, and I have friends, and I have a lot of friends. I have some friends that I wish you could bring onto your show.
Yeah, we will. We'll get them on this year. Sure.
About the nightmare that is happening at our southern border, that people, I'm still amazed that you got to be living under a rock not to acknowledge what is happening there. And I will say this, Chris, even though there's people crossing our borders illegally, you got to keep one thing in mind. A lot of those very people, the women, the children, even men, are being exploited and abused by the cartels. They're being pushed into indentured servitude. And I speak of what I know because I've met these people. I have spoken to them. I see them even where I live, talking about how they are being basically, the coyotes, they don't stop at the border, honey. They escort them it's like the Underground Railroad. They pass them to this state and then on to the next. And there's networks of people that are involved that are profiting off of this.
Yeah.
And I told you that I help people find jobs. I met a young lady last week. And I'm going to say her first name because her first name is Maria, like me. And she needed a job. And she told me, she said, I want to turn my life around. She said, I committed a crime and that's not for me. And I have a small child and I want to go straight and I want to get, a good job. And I said, what did you do? And Chris, when she told me, I said, Lord, I know that you put me in this position for a reason. That's what she told me.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
Not smuggling people. I was smuggling people across the border.
Wow.
And got caught. So she's got a human smuggling charge against her.
Goodness gracious. Scale of 1 to 10, buddy. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being basically point of no return, 1 being there's hope for this border situation, how do you put the odds at where we're at on the border tonight?
Probably like a 50.
Wow. Wait a minute. 50 out of 1 to 10?
1 to 10, we're at a 50. Yeah, it's that bad, Chris. Come on. You know the same people I know at the border. We are and I don't want to say hopeless, because, you know, I believe in the Almighty, and I believe that, you know, God can do anything. And so my whole hope lies in the Lord, that he will bring us back from this.
Do you fear for your family down there at the border tonight? I
fear for every American citizen.
Let me ask you this. This is more of a, we got Brad Johnson coming on next week. Brad got sick on us Tuesday night, and he's coming back next week, but he's more of a military side of things and intelligence. But I do want to ask you this from a war perspective. When you see us sort of having these skirmishes in the Middle East, and you see all this stuff with Hamas and things like that, and then you think about the border, you know, we only had 19 hijackers that was able to do what they did on 9/11. And Maria, you and I both know there's more than 19 terrorists that have come across that border in the last 3 years. How are you concerned that we're looking at a 9/11 event really soon?
It's going to make 9/11 look like a walk in the park. Whatever's about to come, Chris. Have you seen the video? You need to find the video. I've seen it shared by multiple people. David Harris gave an update on it about the terrorist that had been released from a prison somewhere in the Middle East, and some freelance journalist was talking to him, confronting him at the border, and he said, "Well, what is your name?" And he says, "You don't know me. You don't know my name, but one day you're gonna know my name." And I thought, that sounds like a threat. Well, then, you know, it went viral. Next thing you know, they did some facial recognition, and this guy is an escape or terror. What is it? What is the word I'm looking for? He had been released from prison, but he was jailed for terrorist activity. He was a terrorist, a known terrorist, who is now roaming somewhere in our United States, because he's not one of those people that got processed by Border Patrol and got put on a plane. No, he's somewhere in our country. We don't know where he is. Okay? What do you think the guy is doing? You think he came back to, you know, visit his grandma or something? No, he's here plotting against the United States of America. That's who. I have to find that video, and I'm going to send it to you. Maybe you
Please
can
do.
talk to you.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. We'll play it one night. Listen, buddy, we got a few minutes here. We're almost out of time, but I do want to ask you a couple of quick questions, and you got to answer them quick. I saw a comment in the chat tonight about illegals having babies, and I'm beginning to wonder if that is not going to be, that is how they're going to try to stay in the country. And it's such a dastardly plan, Maria, if you think about what they're doing. Do you think... I know where you're going with,
and my where I live now, my U.S. Senate candidate, one of the things was brought up to him in a town hall, and we asked him that question, and it is up to Congress to pass a law to do away with that anchor baby rule, or whatever it's called, because otherwise we're going to have, you think we have a mess on our hands now, it's going to be 100 times worse. So if that's wrong with your question, is that, yeah, we got to play with that anchor baby status.
Do you think the voters hold out and immigration is the big issue come November, or do you think that Americans are going to get sick of this, us talking about it, and just say we don't care anymore?
No, I think that more people are going to wake up and just say, you know what, we need to put our pride aside, we need to put our Trump hate aside, and we need to do what's best for our nation, because somehow or other it is affecting everyone, whether it's with inflation, or whether it's somebody, you know, falls victim to crime at the hands of an illegal, whatever it is, it's good. Things are going to make people wake up.
Yeah.
Things are going to wake up. Chris.
And Julia Carter makes a good point. She says, I live in a very small town in southern Indiana. We now have men around 30 to 40 of age in hoodies, hiding their faces, walking around neighborhoods. And look, that in itself may not mean they're illegal, but I tell you, a lot of them are. They're doing just that, and they're walking in these small towns. And her point is one to be taken, because it is the small towns, Maria, that they're targeting now. See, they can sort of, you know,
Colony Ridge. Google it.
Absolutely.
Google Colony Ridge.
Tell us about Colony Ridge. You got 2 minutes.
Liberty County, Colony Ridge in Texas. Google what's happened there. You know, it basically all these developers and the supposedly cartels that bought up all this land and the dilapidated homes and trailers and stuff, and it was where they were. It was like a detainment facility, a detainment community for keeping the illegals that were being processed. I call it the Underground Railroad of illegals, because that's what it is. There's all these little networks, Chris, all over the United States, and people think, oh, she's a conspiracy theorist. No, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about, and I'm speaking the truth. And if you don't believe me, then God help you, because one day you're going to realize, and you're going to think back and say, I heard some woman say that on the Chris McDonald show. And
yeah,
she was. But I'm not saying like I broke the story. I'm saying I'm connected to people that are covering these stories, that are doing these types of investigations. The information is there. You just got to quit going to MSNBC and CNN for your news, because they're not telling the truth. That's what I'm telling you.
Corey Aguilar is asking, can the border be closed indefinitely? Oh, yeah, it can be if we got the right leadership. It's not going to be tonight. But, look, I think, Maria, Trump has got to do that. The first thing he does before he even sits down in the Oval Office chair, he's going to have to shut the border down. That is a given. And so, yeah, I mean, he can shut it down indefinitely. Nobody can make him open the border. Nobody.
Yeah. Chris, I had a little back and forth on social media with these very up and coming popular conservative rappers, and I don't know if anybody in your audience has heard of them, but they're called Trump Latinos. And these two, tattooed, and they look like little gangster rappers, but they're out there promoting the Trump America First agenda and whatever, and they've picked up a huge following on social media. And I challenged them. He said, what can you do to save America? And I want your audience that's listening to take this to heart. And I told these people, I said, you want to know what you can do besides make all these little Gucci rap videos, catchy phrases about voting for Trump and all this stuff? I said, here's what you need to do. You need to A, make sure that you are registered to vote. You need to B, make sure that you vote in the primary and that you vote Republican and that you vote for a conservative Republican and that you vote for Donald Trump. And then you need to make sure that your family and your neighbors and your friends and your coworkers, and you need to open your mouth and you need to speak and you need to tell these people, let's all band together and save America and let's get these Democrats out of here. And if everybody did that, it would be like a huge human chain, Chris.
Absolutely, buddy.
And it's a red wave movement like this country has never experienced. And we would boot out the Democrats and we would boot out the rhino establishment and we would save our country. If you really care, and you really love your country, that's what it's going to take. Forget about all those social issues about men wearing dresses and women marrying women and think about what we have to do to save our nation. We have to secure our border. We have to bring back the enforce America First policies, protect the sovereignty of our nation, enforce the laws, all these things. That's what we need to do to save our country, or we are going to be lost. And where are we going to go? Where are we going to escape to? What country are we going to flee to, Chris?
We ain't going to be fleeing to nowhere, buddy. We ain't going to have a country to flee. We ain't going to have a world to flee through if this keeps up. But you know what's sad to me as I close tonight, Maria? I got a dear friend, and I say he's a friend, he's probably more of an acquaintance, but he said this recently. He said America is the only country that is doing this to themselves. And that is the sad state of affairs. We're doing this to ourselves. No other country in the world, none, would allow such debauchery to come across its border unhinged and unstopped. And I just have never understood that. Listen, I wish I could keep you all night. We're up against the time, and I'm so grateful that you came on tonight. I know you got home and jumped on the phone with me real quick, and I really appreciate you after a long day doing this for me. We will have you back on again. We're going to get you and Andy on a panel, if we can get Andy to schedule it with us, and y'all come on together, and we're going to talk about this again. I think this is going to be the story of 24, my friend. I think we're going to be having a lot of shows about this as we go forward into this year, and Lord willing, we're going to be back down there sometime this year under the right situation, if we can get it worked out. We're working on it now. But listen, God bless you, and I pray that God will protect your family in Texas and others down there in that border area tonight. God bless you, friend.
All right. Good night, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Good night now. Maria Miller, everybody, conservative advocate and a dear friend of the McFiles on the show, and we appreciate her coming on. I just want to do something real quick tonight. I've got a very special announcement to make, and I am so grateful for Miss Natalie Corbin. She's been helping us in the chat as a moderator. And I want to mention that we've got a brand new sponsor. It's not really a brand new one. They've been with us before, and we are proud to announce that Hoosier Warrior Coffee is a great way that you can drink the best coffee, not only in America, but the world. Their coffee is roasted, shipped once an order is placed through their website. This ensures our customers receive the freshest coffee, and a portion of the sales of that coffee, using the link below, HoosierWarriorCoffee.com/McFiles, will go to help keep the show going. It will be a way to help us make a difference and do the things we're doing. And they're located in Brownsburg, Indiana. Homegrown coffee, some of the best people in the world, veteran-owned, and tremendous family, friends, and just partners of the McFiles. And there's the link. If you got a cell phone tonight, you can scan that link. They've got some great deals for you, and we're grateful for Hoosier Warrior Coffee. And I want to thank Natalie for putting this great logo together for us. And may God bless her and the Corbin family tonight. And we hope that you'll take advantage of that and get you some good coffee. If you like coffee, I know a lot of you do. Please do that. HoosierWarriorCoffee.com/McFiles. And we appreciate her doing that for us tonight. Now listen, we thought we were going to have Victor Alba on tonight. It's late, and probably not going to be on tonight, but we want to thank Maria Miller for being here. We've got a jam-up lineup next week on the McFiles. No show tomorrow night. On a Friday night, we're going to let you spend some time over the weekend. We're going to maybe do a Friday night here or there, but for the most part, Monday through Thursdays, with some Fridays thrown in over the next few months. As we get into spring, we'll probably go all hands on deck with the election. We've got the South Carolina primary coming up, I think next Tuesday night or next. We'll have Magdalene Rose back with us then. And whenever we do an election, to give some analysts on that. And we've got several names, and we'll announce those over the weekend and Monday night. Monday night, Ricky Wilson will be with me at 9 o'clock Eastern, and she'll kick the week off. And then we've got Brad Johnson coming. Eric Karen will be back with us. Marcia Montenegro, Bill Federer, and others will be with us. And we're grateful that you will be with us as well, right here on the one and only McFiles News Network. And we hope that you enjoyed Maria Miller tonight. Now, it is 10 o'clock, and we hope that you enjoyed the show. And thank you so much for being with us tonight. Thank you for the questions. Liz Goldman, I want to just say something Liz said. I saw her comment, and she said something about the Social Security card, and I'm glad she brought that up, and I meant to bring that to Maria. I'll just say something about that. Folks, that's what this ultimate goal of this illegal invasion is. They want these people voting. They want these people voting, and if they give them a Social Security card, and that's basically what they're doing, they're trying to get them enrolled in some kind of ID program so they can get to those polls in November. And there was a report out yesterday that Texas is being targeted by this, that they're literally trying to turn Texas blue. I don't see that happening right now, but that's their goal. And you folks in the Lone Star State, of course, need to be diligent and so forth. And we pray you are. I know most of you are that watch this network. But Arizona, California, New Mexico, along that southern border tonight, folks, it's really a war zone. But don't forget this one thing as a close tonight. That northern border is too. And we're going to talk with Brad Johnson about that next week, because there are threats coming across the northern border that the media is not even mentioning. And we're in great danger tonight, and we need to fight diligently for our country. God bless you, God bless your families, and God bless this great nation of America on this Thursday night, the very first day of February 2024. We want to just say thank you for being with us tonight. If you like the content of our show, you can, again, help us by donations, Zelle, chrismac44@gmail.com, paypal.me/themcfiles. Thank you all for your support. P.O. Box 50942, Knoxville 37950. And don't forget the Hoosier Warrior Coffee folks. And we want to thank Natalie Corbin and the Hoosier Coffee Warrior folks for being a very proud sponsor of the McFiles News Network. Have a good night, everybody. Be blessed out there. Be safe. Keep an eye on each other. Have a great week ahead, a weekend. I'll see you next Sunday morning with the Bible study, on the Sunday morning Bible study, maybe in the morning early on the Faith Network, and then we'll be back at it next week, keeping you updated. And thank you all for being with us tonight. If you enjoyed Maria Miller, you know the drill. Put some fire in that house for me tonight. God bless you out there.